Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Wonderla Holidays Limited Q2FY22 results conference call hosted by ICICI Securities Limited. As a reminder, all participants' lines will be in listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Adidev Chattopadhyay from ICICI Securities Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of ICICI Securities, I'd like to welcome everyone today on the call. From the Wonderla Holidays management, we have with us Mr. Arun Chittilapalli, the Managing Director, and Mr. Satish Seshadri, the Chief Financial Officer. And I'd like to hand over the call to the management for their opening remarks. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. We welcome you to this conference call to discuss the second quarter results of financial year 21-22. Hope everyone continues to stay safe and have a great festive season period. Due to the second wave of COVID, our parks were closed from 19th April. In Q2, all of our parks remain closed in the month of July. As the COVID threat slowly reduced and economic activities gradually picked up again, we reopened our parks in a phased manner. And after receiving all necessary approvals, the Hyderabad park reopened first on 5th August, followed by Bangalore park on 12th August, and then Cochin park on 1st September. So pretty much half the quarter we didn't have the parks open. The parks were initially open only on weekends and public holidays, and while the Bangalore resort had resumed operations on 5th July. As we did previously, on the first day of reopening, we welcomed a COVID angels, basically people who had gone out of their way to help other people during the COVID second wave, and we welcomed them and their families by providing complimentary passes as a gesture of thanks. We were overjoyed at this initiative and it was very well received and admired by them. We had a huge number of attendants. We had about 2,500 people at Hyderabad, about 4,400 people at Bangalore, and about 3,300 people at Cochin. In the quarter, we prioritized and achieved 100% vaccination for our entire staff, including both on-roll and off-roll employees. We continue to improve our engagement with customer base and launched attractive offers throughout the quarter for various events like Engineers Day, Daughters Day, Grandparents Day. We also did a lot of buy one, get one ticket free for elders. All these activities got an encouraging response and helped us to motivate people to come to our parks again. Now we see a tremendous desire in people to venture out again. And after being confined indoors for a major part of 2 years, we see a huge demand coming back. After the introductory offers and phase opening, we resumed full-scale operations and normal ticket prices from September in Bangalore and Hyderabad, and resumed full operations for all days in Kochi only in November. In Q2 FY22, the total footfalls across our parks was 1,47,000. The gross revenue was about 18 crores and EBITDA loss was about 3.5 crores. As majority of our population gets vaccinated, gradual unlocking increases and COVID-related restrictions reduce, we are on track to reach normalcy, and with many other industries already at pre-COVID operating levels. As the third quarter is filled with festivities and pleasant weather, our parks are very sought after destinations for people to come out and celebrate. And we are already witnessing improving traction and very optimistic of resuming full-scale operations very soon. We thank you all for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in our parks. We can now proceed to Q&A. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone phone now. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. To ask a question, please press star followed by 1 on your touchtone phone now. We have a first question from the line of Kaustav Pawaskar from Sharekhan by BNP Paribas. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Thanks for giving me the opportunity, and good to hear that you have started your operations foolproof and you are witnessing good traction. So my question is, since you have now commenced operational fully, do we have any restrictions on the capacity per day, considering the fact that demand is going to be strong, people want to move out? So on capacity front, is there any restrictions?
There are still capacity restrictions. We are not allowed to, the government order says we should not run at full capacity. So we are still running at half capacity as abundant caution. But I don't think, I think in some markets, the restriction, like for example, I think in Karnataka, the restriction has been already lifted. We are allowed to operate at full capacity. Cochin continues to be at half. And I'm not sure about Hyderabad. Satish, do you have any data on that?
We can operate, sir.
Yeah, we can operate at full capacity. So I think except Cochin, we are allowed to operate at full capacity. Cochin also, I think, Kerala market is also slowly seeing a recovery. So we expect restrictions to, go off soon. But even with this, like 6,000 capacity is still a huge number for us. So we are not really concerned about that at this stage because we are still in a ramp up of demand. So it's not of a concern for us.
Right. And in this quarter, we have seen a lot of extended weekends. And how was the festive season per se? Like the footfalls were strong during the festive time in Bangalore and Hyderabad.
Yeah, I think during the festive season, Bangalore has actually outperformed last compared to pre-COVID, whereas Hyderabad and Cochin are still coming. Hyderabad also performed decently, but like I told you earlier, Cochin is still reopening. We just resumed full operations only for the last 10 days. So it's still too early to say for Cochin. But Cochin is also seeing pretty good numbers. It's just that we were not open every day during, for example, Dussehra. But Diwali, we were open every day. So, I mean, it's still, we are quite happy with the way numbers have come. Of course, you'll get to see that next quarter.
Right. And on the ticket prices, the introductory price was around $799. But now have you increased the prices or still you are working on $799?
So we have increased our prices to, we are not fully to pre-COVID prices yet, but we are almost there, maybe 4-5% difference. But that also will be changed in the coming months.
Okay. So 4-5% lesser than the pre-COVID prices. Is that right understanding?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Satish?
Yes, sir. Sir, currently the prices for weekday is $999 and weekends is $1,199. And these are the normally what is important for us is the average ticket price.
What are the pre-COVID prices?
Pre-COVID prices about different for different parks.
For Bangalore,
during the pre-COVID. Bangalore is higher, but other two parks is of the same range. The Kochi and Hyderabad park is about $999.
Yeah, I think we still have about 100, maybe 50 to 100 rupees where I think we can increase.
In the case of Bangalore park, and in other two parks, it's in the same levels.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, so we still have a little bit of headroom to increase ticket prices, and as demand is growing, we are going back to pre-COVID prices.
Right. And anything on the bookings, like how things are, for the quarters, like as you said that obviously you're seeing a pickup in demand, but on the booking front, how are things like on your digital platforms, how what kind of traction?
Yeah, it's all doing extremely well. Actually, now we get almost half our tickets booked on our website, which is a huge change compared to pre-COVID. So almost 50% of the bookings come directly to us. So like Satish said, that also helps us improve our average ticket price, average revenue per user, all those things. So so those are encouraging signs.
Right. Thank you, sir. I will come back in case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to participants to ask a question, please press star followed by 1 on your touchtone phone now. We have next question from the line of Meet Jagani from PS Associates. Please go ahead.
We used to have a policy of constant ticket price increase every year. Are we maintaining that policy, like 10 to 15% increase every year?
No, we don't do 10 to 15% every year. We usually do 5 to 7%, maybe little less than inflation is what we usually do. I think we will be able to do that because in all the markets that we operate, we are the top choice, and we are probably about 15-20% more expensive than the next best amusement park. But that is a reasonable gap because our offering is also way superior. So we are able to command a premium pricing.
Okay. And what were average footfalls in this quarter and compared it to pre-COVID levels? Very same or below pre-COVID levels average?
Who is this?
Hello. Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can answer this query, sir.
Yeah, please.
Okay. See, we worked for about 4 days a week initially for the Bangalore and Hyderabad park and the Kochi park also. And then from September, we worked all the days for Bangalore and Hyderabad park. And taking the number of days worked for FY22, this quarter, we recorded about close to 2,000 in case of Bangalore park and 1,100 in case of Hyderabad park. Kochi park, we were close to about 900 footfall. Compared to the pre-COVID levels, I'm taking the entire quarter average, there we have, in the case of Bangalore park, we are more than Bangalore park. Bangalore park in pre-COVID level for the entire 92 days was about 1,500 and Hyderabad park was about 980 and Kochi park was about 1,300. So Bangalore and Hyderabad park was more than the pre-COVID level on a all-day working of pre-COVID and selective days working of current year. And the Kochi park was lesser in that sense.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. To ask a question, please press star followed by 1 on your touchtone phone now. We have next question from the line of VP Rajesh from Banyan Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity. So you mentioned that 50% of the customers are coming directly on your website for buying their tickets. I missed the pre-COVID number. What was that number for this metric?
10%.
10%. Okay. And as you were saying that the Bangalore and Hyderabad are seeing pre-COVID footfall levels. So what is the thinking on increasing the pricing now, given that there is significant inflation in wages as well as other supplies?
Yeah, that's what we are planning to do, another price hike at some point in this quarter. This is Q3. So we will do that whenever there is need. And we have not reached pre-COVID prices yet. So because of that, I think there is still some headroom for us to do that, and so we are doing it gradually.
Okay, so can we assume by Q4, assume there is no third wave, you will be sort of back to normal pre-COVID operations?
Yes. So we are hoping that by end of this financial year, if there is no third wave, we should be able to get to pre-COVID or even better is what we are hoping for. Let's see.
Okay. And I remember that you were doing some interesting experimentation with your foods business, when we met about 2 years ago, actually 2 years ago, right? So if you can just update on that, where that stands.
We are not doing that was just Yeah. So we did that as an experiment, and once our parks resumed full operation, we decided to kind of discontinue it because we were actually understaffed when we reopened our parks, and because during COVID we had drastically reduced our size, and we also had salary cuts, and so once we reopened, we had to actually start hiring, and we just couldn't focus on everything. So we decided to put a pause on that. We are actually now focusing on bringing those kind of offerings to our parks directly instead of doing it as a cloud kitchen. And that I think has been helpful for us because I think we have a kind of a food lab where we kind of experiment on new food. and pricing and fund foods and things like that. So that aspect of it, we are continuing in our parks. We are not doing it outside. That's it.
Okay. And then on the food business, what was the percentage of revenue from that versus pre-COVID levels in this quarter, or let's say in the month of October?
Satish?
Yes.
Non-ticket.
Yes, I'm going to talk about it. The average ticket price during the quarter, we recorded about 847 as against 796 in the Q2 FY 19-20. And also on the spend per head on the non-ticket revenue, we recorded about 261 this quarter as against 278 during Q2 FY 19-20. As you know, FY 2021, the parks were closed on account of COVID. So the comparative peak figures are only 19-20. So we were close to those two numbers. Yeah. And ATP, we really did good because of the job mix. We had more of walk-in, as Arun sir meant it. Due to walk-in, we are able to record higher ATP or realization on ticket price.
Okay. All right. That's all for now. If I have more, I'll get back in the queue. Thank you so much and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone phone now. We have next question from the line of Anuj Sharma from M3 Investment. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. Arun, I just wanted to understand one of the entertainment parks, which is Nico, was sold, or let's suppose there was a resolution. Did we participate in this particular park? And if yes, then did we miss out for any parameters? The reason I'm asking is this park seems to be closer than to our operating models versus other parks. So some thought process into this.
No, we have not looked at Nico Park because I think it's a government joint venture and their ATPs and all are very low compared to us. I think their ATP, which is average ticket price, is only some 50 or 100 rupees. And our ATP, as Satish just told you, is about 800, 900 rupees. So they are not direct comparable. Nico is a very small amusement park compared to us, so not of interest to us.
All right, but was there a scope for us to take over and maybe increase it, or that would have been a difficult journey? And just in relation to that,
right? Sorry, continue.
Yeah, just in relation to that, are we also evaluating, because there might be some stress and we've been talking about it for some time. Do you see some stressful opportunities in the sector? Thanks.
Yeah, so there are a lot of amusement parks that have come up for sale, and they've come. So Nico has come. There is a couple of parks in Delhi. There is Imagica in Bombay. There is one more small park in Bombay. Then there are a bunch of parks in Tamil Nadu. So there have been a few this thing. It's just that when we evaluated them, most of them were not fitting our business model, or they were too expensive, or they had other issues which prevented us from taking over. So we don't want to buy any of them out as of now, but we are willing to do a like a revenue share or a operating model in some of these parks. So we put forth some of those proposals. We don't know what is happening yet because it's a long-term process, and some of these projects are in NCLT and things like that. So not yet conclusive, but let's see what happens.
All right. So if I may assume that despite such stressful scenarios, if we were not able to, for whatever reason, it'll be fairly clear that we will mostly be on the organic path, rather than any of these inorganic. Is that a fair assumption?
We are mostly focused on our own expansion plans because we like to do greenfield projects. And for example, we were invited to do a park in Chennai. We have been invited to do a park in Odisha, and we have also been invited by the Gujarat government to do something in Ahmedabad. So we do have a few offers like that. So we would, we are trying to see how we can revive those. And on top of that, we have these kind of assets that have come to us, distress assets and sale and all that. We are evaluating all of them. I don't know. It just depends on what what finally works out for all parties interested. Hard to put a finger on it and say that we will not do it. But of course, like you said, we would prefer to do our own projects as and when they, all the clearances, everything is approved. We would prefer that because we are part of the thing that we are specialized in is designing our own parks and building them at a very low cost compared to competition. So some of those advantages, we will not be able to realize if we take over other parks. So that is the way we look at it.
Got it. Thank you so much for the answers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. To ask a question, participants may press star 1. We have next question from the line of Piyush Sharma from Minerva India Underserved. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Question to Satish here. So I know that a lot of moving parts here. When the ATP of an average of 847 versus I think almost say about 1,000 in September, number of days of operation, specific days of operation in a week, F&B mix, etc., etc. I think there's so many moving parts here that at least some sense of sort of a pro forma would be helpful. So Satish, if you were to hazard a guess here, you did about 17 crores of revenues in a quarter. Let's say if the entire quarter was similar to September, what would that number look like? I think it seems to me like back of the envelope will give me somewhere north of 40 crores. But there's so many moving parts here that I would rather if you could give me some sense there.
Piyush, thank you. We had a few parks working for 4 days, as you said correctly, and Kochi Park was not operational all the days in September, and the other 2 parks were fully operational. And the ticket prices also, we had differential ticket prices. Okay, and whenever we work on such situation, we also try to optimize the cost in terms of the manpower cost and in terms of the requirement in utilities and other things. Okay, so the cost optimization also happens to an extent there. But when you work on a full-fledged park, the dynamics is totally different, which you are correctly put it. But looking at the equation and how we fared is anywhere if we reach more than 1 lakh footfall, we will be close to the break even there. So in a simple dynamic, we can have it that way. So coming to the September, we recorded about 94,000 footfalls for the month of September. So we were close to the break even that time. Hope it answers.
Sort of. So what you're telling me is 2/3 of your all footfalls for the quarter came in September month alone.
Yeah, because see, August we opened the 5th of August is Hyderabad, and Bangalore we opened only on 15th, and they were operating only 4 days a week. So we had only 54,000 footfall in August, and 94,000 footfall in September. And August is again Kochi was not operational, but we carried the cost. September month we are close to 94,000, which is close to 1 lakh. So we will be close to a break-even situation in September.
Right. So let's say if 2/3 of your footfalls were in September alone, and that month definitely had higher ATP than your quarter average, that month definitely had higher days of operation per week than your quarter average, that days definitely had more weekends than a quarter average. My guess is almost 80% of your revenues were booked in the last month of the quarter. Would that be a fair assessment?
80%. Not 80%. I think I would say 60% of our revenue came from September, right? 50%.
So 2/3. 2/3 came in September and 1/3 in August.
Yeah. 60. Yeah. 60,
yeah, it was 2/3 in September and 1/3 in August.
And 0 in July.
Oh, that is correct. I think I got it mixed up. Of course, you were not there in July. So 94,000 of 1.47 lakhs. Obviously, it's only in the 2 months.
Only 1 month. Yeah.
Sorry, got it. Now, another question on COVID F&B restrictions. What are those restrictions specifically by the 3 parks specifically?
Right now, we don't have any restrictions on COVID in 2 parks. Cochin, we have a capacity restriction of about 6,000 visitors max per day.
I'm talking about F&B only.
F&B, there is no restriction.
Initially, when we opened the park, only in Kochi Park we had the F&B restriction on the seating capacity and the table arrangement and other things. But that is also removed by now. So we don't have any restriction either in the F&B now.
Okay, great. And then,
Sir, I'm sorry to would like to come back in the question queue.
Sure.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly restrict questions to 2 per participant. We have next question from the line of Kaustav Pawaskar from Sharekhan by BNP Paribas. Please go ahead.
Yeah, just wanted to understand on the Chennai park, any thought process, like still in a wait and watch mode, or you would like to go ahead with that project? And
no, we are not yet taken a decision because we are still waiting on the government to get back to us on our proposals. Whenever we have some information, we'll definitely intimate all of you.
Right. And similarly on the Odisha park, anything on that one?
Yes, I mean Odisha also, they are very keen for us to start, but we have internally taken a decision not to start any new projects for the remainder of this financial year, because our focus is entirely on reviving business, and
right.
That is what we are doing right now. The new projects we will only do in FY22. FY20 next year. Yeah, FY22.
Yes. And so anything on the international parks, like they have been open for a while now, and how things are looking over there, which will give us a sense like how Indian parks will be shaping up over the period of time. Anything on the international, especially the one which are the oldest one?
Yeah, I think international parks, especially in countries where COVID has been contained properly, they are seeing a huge resurgence of visitors. In fact, records are being broken in some of the parks, especially China. I'm hearing that a lot of the parks have been full and things like that. But then now again they have restrictions. So I think there is no direct comparison. We hope that if things improve and we are allowed to stay open and there is no third wave and there is no craziness, I think we should be we should have a very good ramp up of footfalls in all our parks.
Right. And currently, whatever footfalls you are receiving in all the 3 parks are not in groups. Those are the visitors who are coming on that particular day. Groups
Correct.
will take some time to come back on track, right?
We are getting groups, but not. The group season. By December the group season will be over. So this year we are not expecting groups too much, but we are also getting groups. So yeah, but not like previous years, but more than made up by retail footfalls.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
Thank you. We have next question from the line of Narendra from Honeywell. Please go ahead.
No, I don't have any question.
Thank you. We have next question from the line of VP Rajesh from Banyan Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Just a follow-up. If you can share the footfalls for the month of October.
We will tell you that next
we can't
quarter.
share.
We can't tell you. We can't share right now. We are talking about second quarter, right?
Okay. Right. But so was it at a break-even level, or if you can just give us some idea?
Yeah. Well above that.
September or not? Well above that.
It's well above that.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We have next question from the line of Piyush Sharma from Minerva India Underserved. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So just a quick follow-up on Bhubaneswar. I know that there were very extensive discussions and the government was willing to give much more SOPs than we had received earlier from on the other part. Any update that I know that you've got a lot of stuff to do on the Chennai to begin with, any which way, but any more discussions on Bhubaneswar side?
It's continuing. Discussions are continuing, and they're very proactive. The Odisha government has been very proactive. They are willing to give us free land, free water connection, free electricity. I mean, there's a lot that they're doing which no other state has been done. So that way, we are very happy. We are actually still discussing to see when we should start and what are the the parameters, and then at some point we will intimate you when there is a final decision and once we go ahead with the project.
So the only reason I specifically asked about Bhubaneswar was, of course, because Bhubaneswar being one of the, let's say, quote-unquote, more conservative states in COVID, something in line with Kerala, is the reason I asked are they extra conservative, you think, right now? They're being more cautious in moving ahead, or?
No, not really. I mean, they are actually very keen. They want us to start like tomorrow if we can, but we are not able to do it because we are trying to revive footfalls and we have other priorities right now. But I think once we have some more free time, once the parks are fully operational and footfalls are fully back, at that point we will start on. So right now we are just The negotiations are going on. There is no final. I mean, we are very keen to do the project, and they want us to do the project. So that part is clear. But the rest of it, I mean, there are other things that we need to finalize before we can go ahead.
Perfect. And then finally, just a bookkeeping question here. On your group bookings, could you confirm pre-COVID schools were what percentage of group walk-ins?
I think, for example, Q3 or Q2, we used to have almost maybe 25-30% or even 40% of the footfalls used to be groups. Now this year, I think it will be less than 10%.
No, I'm asking what percentage of groups were schools specifically?
Most of the groups that come to us are schools. 95% are schools. Yeah.
That's all I need to know. Thank you so much.
Thank you. As there are no further questions from the participants, I now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Thank you all for joining the Concall, and we hope you continue to stay safe, and we are optimistic that footfalls and revenues for our sector will improve, and we are already seeing that, and hope to see you guys next quarter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of ICICI Securities Limited, that concludes this conference call. Thank you for joining with us, and you may now disconnect your lines.